The doorbell rang exactly 30 minutes before the guests were supposed to arrive. I glanced at the clock hanging above the kitchen doorway and frowned. The frosting on the birthday cake had barely set, the potatoes were still browning in the oven, and the apartment smelled of fresh pastries, herbs, roasted meat, and warm vanilla. Everything was almost perfect. Only one person in the world considered invitations to be rough suggestions instead of actual times, my mother-in-law, Tamara Petrovna. The bell rang again, longer this time. Before I could reach the hallway, someone tried the doorknob. Open up. Tamara's familiar voice echoed through the apartment. We're family. I closed my eyes for a second, forcing myself to stay calm. Then I unlocked the door. Tamara swept inside without waiting for an invitation. Behind her marched her younger sister Galina, cousin Lena, and Lina Steinitchson, each carrying large, insulated shopping bags. No one greeted them. No one asked if they were early. Instead, Tamara looked around my apartment as she were inspecting a hotel before checking in. Oh, good, she said. You're still cooking. I am, I answered carefully. Dinner isn't for another half hour. She nodded absently before placing one heavy bag on the kitchen table. I looked at it. What is inside? Our salads. I waited. Our salads. She smiled proudly. Restaurant salads. Seafood, Kaiser, Olivier with crab, grilled vegetables, salmon rolls, all premium quality. I stared at her. Oui, because guests expect something elegant. I blinked several times, but I've already prepared everything. She waved her hand dismissively. Handmade food is nice, dear, but birthdays should look expensive. Those words stung more than I wanted to admit. For 2 weeks I had been planning Antone's birthday. Every evening after work I stopped by different grocery stores searching for the freshest ingredients because buying everything in one place would have cost too much. I had compared prices, collected discount coupons, skipped buying myself a new jacket I wanted for months. My monthly bonus had disappeared almost entirely into this celebration. Not because Onion forced them. Because Anton had smiled one evening and said, let's celebrate at home this year. It'll feel warm, like a real family. I believed him, so I baked 2 cakes. Prepared stuffed mushrooms, marinated chicken overnight, made homemade dumplings from scratch. Cooked roast beef according to Anton's grandmother's recipe. Prepared 12 different appetizers. Decorated the apartment with balloons in his favorite colors. Even the music playlist had taken hours to create. Every little detail mattered. At least it mattered to him. Tamara opened one of the containers. The smell of mayonnaise filled the kitchen. She proudly shoved every on the neatly arranged salad. This Olivier alone cost more than everything you've cooked. Galina lied. So true. Lena nodded. Restaurants know better. I looked down at my own hands. The tiny burn on my wrist from yesterday. The floor still caught beneath one fingernail. The aching shoulders from standing in the kitchen until midnight. Apparently none of that had a price. Anton finally walked into the kitchen. He smiled when he saw everyone. Mom, you made it. Oh, of course. Then he looked at the containers. Oh, they already arrived. Already. I slowly turned toward him. You knew. He hesitated for only a second. We talked about it a few days ago. My voice became very quiet. You never mentioned it. I forgot. Tamara interrupted. I suggested adding restaurant food. Just to make everything more presentable. Presentable. I repeated. Anton rubbed the back of his neck. Don't take it personally. I spent 2 days cooking. I know. So we didn't you tell him. He said impotently. I didn't think it was a big deal. Sure it was. Those familiar words. Not a big deal. The same phrase had used when his mother criticized my haircut. When she reorganized my kitchen cabinets because a proper hostess stores spices differently. When she told relatives I wasn't good enough at keeping house. When she lied at the inexpensive dress I wore to New Year's dinner. Every time I protested, Anton would smile awkwardly. Don't make drama. Taddy was no different. Mom only wanted everything to look nice. So my dinner decent. It does. But, he remained silent. Tamara answered instead. It looks handmade. As she meant it as criticism. I simply nodded. No one noticed. Everyone had already become busy unpacking containers across my freshly cleaned table. One dish after another replaced the serving bowls it carefully selected the previous evening. The expensive salads occupied the center. My foot was quietly pushed toward the edges. Almost hidden, as it embraced them. I watched silently while Tamara rearranged everything exactly the way she wanted. She announced proudly. Now the table finally looks festive. No one asked whether I agreed. Galina admired the presentation. Lena took several photos. Anton smiled. You've done a great job, Mom. Those words hurt more than all the criticism combined. Not only had he looked at them and said the same. I quietly walked back into the kitchen. The roast was ready, golden, juicy, exactly the way Anton liked it. I switched off the oven. For a long moment, I simply stood there listening to cheerful voices from the living room. They were discussing restaurant ratings, wine, presentation. None of them mentioned effort, or love, or gratitude. Something inside slowly became calm. Not angry, not offended, just strangely clear. I opened the refrigerator. One by one, I began removing every handmade dish it prepared. The stuffed mushrooms, the baked chicken, the handmade salads, the dumplings, the roast. Each container disappeared into reusable shopping bags. No one noticed. Everyone remained busy admiring the expensive restaurant food. Then I picked up my phone and called my elderly neighbor. Nina, are you home? Yes, dear. Would your family like a festive dinner tonight? There was silence. Then she lied nervously. You're joking. I'm completely serious. 20 minutes later Nina stood quietly at my back door. When she saw the amount of food, tears instantly filled her eyes. This could feed 10 people. It probably will. But I smiled gently, because someone should enjoy it. As she hugged them without another question. As she carried away the final containers, I looked around my now nearly empty refrigerator. The only food left inside belonged to Tamara. And somehow, for the first time that entire day, I felt lighter than I had all week.